Welcome back, everyone. I am the Depressed Eeyore, and this is Middara, Unintentional Malum, Act 1. Let's read the perpetrator's hideout. Zeke caught Remy before she could hit the ground, holding her as she recovered. She was in bad shape. She wore the tattered remains of her sleepwear, and the flesh around her wrist was angry and red. She was also carrying a dagger in each hand and a tight bundle of paper over one shoulder. Remy, oh god, are you okay? She glanced between them in desperate relief. Aisling is right behind me. Zeke glanced up to see Aisling emerging from the cave entrance. She held a massive cleaver in each hand, each one wicked sharp and glinting with malignant light. Slung over her shoulder was an uneven cube covered in flickering symbols. There was no mistaking the power radiating from the artifact, even if they'd never seen it before, the hegemonics. Aisling stopped, frozen in surprise when she saw them. Her eyes only lingered on Patrick. God damn it, Patrick. You couldn't just abandon me. You really had to betray me too. She raised her cleaver, slowly running one of the blades along the flat of the other to produce an angry metal screech. Patrick stiffened. Aisling, we just came for the girl. Remy isn't the one you're after. She's not part of the Black Hand, and she didn't hurt you or your family. Why don't you just turn around and walk back into the cave? We go our way, you go yours. Not this time, Patrick. Killing her won't bring my dad back, but it will give Malik a taste of his own medicine. Let him see what it's like to lose someone he loves. Aisling roared, her voice echoing off wet stone. Nightingale hardly seemed to see her. She focused on the hegemonics with laser-like precision. An expression of hunger set onto her face. She laughed, her voice bitter and alien. They all stared, Remy most confused of all. Nightingale's body jerked forward, and one of her arms shoved Remy down hard, sending her into the mud and rocks. Night! Remy whimpered, scampering for her daggers. Nightingale turned, striding past her and over to Aisling. Zeke didn't have a chance to explain, but he moved to Remy's side and scowled at Nightingale. What the hell? You said that you'd give her body back when we got here. Princess Nightingale, Aisling shouted, voice surging with excitement. I always knew your family cared about justice and lineage. Fight with me. Yes. Nightingale's jaw opened just a little too wide as she laughed again. We both will have what is rightfully ours. Zeke's eyes widened in horror as his best friend began to twitch and something manifested from her body. The Maluma leaked out, stretching and solidifying into dark armor that shimmered like oil. A sword appeared moments later, black as onyx and lined with teeth dripping with saliva. Zeke tightened his grip on his weapon, putting a little threat into the words. You know the deal Nightingale made. Let her go. In good time, Nightingale called. Please, compel me with your weapons. You can only shed her blood. Rex's voice boomed across the cliff. No, don't hurt her. That's what the Maluma wants. It's looking to take a different body. Nightingale's smile faded. Clever. But you assume I'll give you a choice. She lunged, swinging the massive sword wildly in both hands. All right. Aisling and Nightingale square off against you. The pair have situated themselves at the mouth of the cave. Any monsters that haven't been killed still linger about. Unconcerned with who becomes their prey, you curse as you realize that you need to avoid hurting Nightingale until you find a way to free her from the Maluma. Yeah, so just letting you know that you needed to keep the board the same as you left it, and then adjust from there. So, there are 4 conditions. Win condition is Aisling is defeated. Alternate win condition is Aisling is defeated by falling off a cliff. Lose condition, everyone's defeated, and then there's the alternate lose condition, which is Nightingale is defeated, and it already gives you a hint down there. It's an ending. Endings are bad. Those are game overs. So yeah, if we want the best ending, we have to defeat her without her falling off, without Aisling falling off a cliff. Which is harder than it seems in some cases. Not only because of how difficult Aisling is, but because of her AI. But before that, let's go ahead and read some stuff. Also, I am just going to go ahead and lump all this together. We only have to read one page, so we're just going to dive into this big boss fight. So, same setup as before. All figures from the previous encounter stay where they are, except for Nightingale and Remy. Nightingale and Aisling are placed as shown in the setup diagram. If you cannot place their figures as shown, place them on the nearest unoccupied normal terrain space. Remy, along with any adventurers who were defeated in the previous encounter, are placed within SOI of a surviving adventurer. If all adventurers were defeated, place their figures on the east side of tile UM43. We do have Patrick with us. Patrick is not going to be delayed this time. All right, so Nightingale is going right here. And then we need to get Aisling. Yeah, I'll grab Aisling first. Tile UM9. Or sorry, hitting card UM9, which is actually going to grab everything, including her adventurer card. So there are adventure cards that get unlocked as you're playing the story mode, and majority of them, well, some of them may be possibly used in story mode, but some of them are crawl mode only. One of them being Aisling. There is an Aisling adventure card, which we will read the back of. Aisling does have 2 initiative cards, so we get to deal with that nonsense. We got Transform Nightingale here, which we will talk about in a bit. Nightingale's damage will need to be recorded manually. Just retrieve a damage counter from the top of the table. Yeah, that's fine. I'm just going to use the stuff down here. Anyway, what else we got going on here? We got Aisling. So I think, yeah, I'll talk about Aisling in a bit. That boss is something else. Also, here's her unlocked character. Uncertain Revenge. So she has very high presence, surprisingly not high agility, despite her being so jumpy. Her special ability is Uncertain Revenge. Per encounter, she can treat a skull as blank, which is amazing, especially with how I roll. So you can definitely bake her as a character that focuses on rolling a lot of empowered dice, which is kind of neat. Aisling is willing to do whatever it takes to get revenge against the Black Hand. Now, out of curiosity, does she have different card stuff on the back? She does. Okay. So we'll read the story stuff after. Actually, we can read it now, because that's what I usually do. But first things first, is there anything else I need to note? So yeah, we've got Nightingale Maluma Possessed, which we just revealed. Any damage that she had previously is removed. Nightingale's Intelligent Combatant card has stats calculated using the scaling icon rules. To determine Nightingale Maluma Possessed stats, treat it as a adventure card. Treat the Nightingale Adventure card as the summoner, and then use her equipped weapon symbols abilities as the scaling symbols. So there used to be some confusion about what exactly happens if Nightingale happens to be a summoner and you have summons out. That's been clarified, at least in 1.2. When the summoner dies, the espers do stay out. So if Nightingale does transform, the espers do still stay on your side. It would have been funny if she transformed and literally would, turn those espers against you, because that would be hell. Anyway, though I guess. Oh, actually, that does bring up other questions, though. If the espers take damage, does Maluma take damage? I don't know. I just don't make her a summoner just to avoid that headache. Anyway, my enemy's enemy, Nightingale and Aisling, are allies and consider all other figures as opponents. This means they will attack and be attacked by K-Sickles. This is actually kind of important, because depending on how you have Nightingale built, mine tends to be pretty squishy, because I usually make her an archer. Depending on how the AI goes, she can actually end up running into the cave and start fighting all the K-Sickles that you didn't kill. And that is a quick way that you can get a game over, because she can just get swarmed and killed at that point. Besides all that, we still have the same rules for Perilous Bridge and Dangerous Edge. Current's the same as well. And just a reminder that Remy she doesn't get to use her usual stuff. She just has the Switchblade, Knife, Nightgown, and then anything she got from the previous encounter. So I do have all the consumables and the Bone Chipper now. Okay, so first things first, I do need to position Remy. I can position her within... first I need to move Nightingale. Where's Nightingale? Oh, right, she's right there. I'm missing something. There she is, Aisling. So Aisling will be here. Yep, Aisling's there. And then Remy can be positioned anywhere with an SOI of an adventurer. I'm actually going to go ahead and put Remy right here. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I need to keep Aisling from running into the cave. I do not want her running into the cave, because that is a quick way to, well, technically win, but not the way I want to. So, with all that said and done, let's go ahead and read some stuff. First things first, let's talk about Nightingale. Maluma Possessed. Nightingale felt the iron grip of the Maluma deadening her mind, dragging her deep within herself. Sensations went gray, and they faded to dim suggestions. Hopefully allowing the Maluma to take control wasn't a worse idea than she already thought, but if there was anything she could do to save Remy, she would take the risk. The warmth of Maluma's pleasure was stifling. Nightingale was almost lost in the strength of its lust to finally have a body of its own, to be free of fear of the shadowy beings pursuing it. It was so old, its memory is so vast, that her own experiences barely seemed to even seem to matter. Nightingale strained to see what was happening around her, but she could make out her friends gathered around her and staring in horror. Where was Remy? She searched their faces frantically, but her vision blurred. The Maluma tightened its grip on her mind, and her view went black. Don't worry, princess. Soon it will all be over. I will have a vessel worthy of my power, and you won't have to worry about anything ever again. Its words were heavy, crushing her feeble resistance. No more worries, no more duty, no more fear or pain. Perhaps she should just surrender herself. But she still remembered Remy. She needed Nightingale. There was no way that she would give up now. She struggled to the front of her mind again. She stood before her friends, weapon drawn. She could feel the electric excitement from the Maluma. She couldn't stop it. It dragged her into battle against the one she loved. So everything is scaling. That's part of the reason why I actually like using the Bearer of Justice, because it doesn't use any of the upgrades, and it doesn't use empowered attacks. So what that means is it's just going to roll a white and orange, and the only symbols that will actually do extra damage is the burst, essentially. So it makes her a lot easier to deal with. Technically, as quite a fragrant amount of cheese, you could, before advancing the encounter and finishing it, the previous one, you could do a re-equip and just unequip her gear. I would just unequip her weapon, and in which case she'll just roll 2 purples with no symbols. That I've done like maybe once, just to see what it would be like. As much as I enjoy doing cheese, I think that I tend to not do too often. I mean, I've definitely done it in Final Fantasy Tactics, where I unequip somebody I know is going to betray me, but it's a bit rough. Anyway, let's talk about Nightingale. Her stuff is all scaling, including her armor. Friendly face, opponents cannot dodge Nightingale's attacks. That's what makes her a little bit dangerous. Craze Protector, anytime an opponent deals damage to Aisling, they gain the priority target token. Anytime Aisling would be inflicted by a negative effect, roll a black die if it's a 4 of a kind, so 4 books or 4 shields. Nightingale will get that effect instead. So this passive is super dangerous, because any effect includes things like poison. If you accidentally poison Maluma possessed Nightingale, you're pretty much game over. Well, not entirely. Technically, you can probably if you have some way to actually remove an effect from someone, like with water low abilities, for example, then you might be okay. But this ability used to be stronger. It used to be roll a black, and I think it was if any shield was rolled, which is a 4 and 6 chance, it would transfer. They've nerfed it, so now it's only 4 of a kind, which is a 1 in 3 chance, or 2 and 6, which is a lot easier to deal with. Also, something to note is one of her AI steps is if she happens to have Gore Shot, Euthanasia, or Courage Stifle. In other words, if she's a spellcaster, she actually essentially gets a free extra ability that just hits you for magic damage, and it just continues down from there. So, like I mentioned with Remy, where you're like, I kind of need to build with the idea that I'm going to be left in a nightgown. Nightingale, I have to build and be like, as much as I really want to make her into a spellcaster, I mean, they do tempt you to do so in the mask, because she does start with Gore Shot in that. But if I give her a spell, I literally make this fight much harder, because she just starts hitting you with magic damage. And at this point in the game, I usually don't have enough conviction to reliably resist anything. So that's why Nightingale, I usually don't make her into a spellcaster. Besides that, the other thing to note is she does have a push 4 at force 11, and that could be pretty dangerous as well. That could potentially kill Rook, and there's not much I can do about it. So here's hoping we don't get killed. And everything else is pretty much just her running around. Also, she does have the ability to inflict poison, which is really annoying. She's also just really, really mobile. Anyway, so that is Nightingale. Let's talk about Aisling. She's gone through several nerfs. Vengeful Vigilante. This practice of stealing people from Earth is banned by nearly all kingdoms on Middara, and culturally consider it as kidnapping. However, no kingdom is devoid of corruption. The Harbinger who took Aisling was simply ordered to grab a pretty girl. Aisling was kidnapped off the streets of Belarus under the direction of a well-connected duke in Brahma. Unfortunately, the kidnapping went awry. Her father was unexpectedly visiting her home when the Harbinger entered, resulting in a fight. During the confrontation, the Harbinger killed her father, and Aisling was dragged screaming from her home into Middara. The Duke took her in with open arms, but the traumatizing event left Aisling cold. It wasn't until 6 months into her formal education that she discovered what had happened to her and why. Her father was murdered by a rich aristocrat who wanted a daughter for himself. The Duke hadn't known exactly what happened, but he quickly found out. To him, Aisling was broken. The daughter he had fantasized about wasn't in Aisling, and never could be. As tensions with the Duke began to rise, Aisling feared for her life and soon fled east to Alenia. Alenia was eager to accept such a connected defector. Aisling was soon housed in the Institute, where she was given a scholarship for 8 years of higher education. There, Aisling spent much of her time researching all she could about Middara and who was responsible for her life being torn apart. Her investigation eventually led her to the Black Hand, a criminal organization based out of Ramstad. After graduation, Aisling followed them there, where she found the man truly responsible for her kidnapping, the man who she had seen kill her father. This man was Malik Moretti, head of the Black Hand. So there you go. I'll read about her stuff in a second. Let's read the back of the adventure card. Dragon Arms Regular. When Aisling discovered Patrick's Dragon Arms, the building was a rundown shack on the outskirts of Ramstad. She would have missed it entirely if she hadn't seen its tattoo-clad owner wiping down counters through a dirty window. Amused at the man's fervor, Aisling found herself as one of the establishment's first customers. She ridiculed the establishment for the mess that it was, but the owner hadn't been in the mood to argue. She felt bad for him, as it was obvious that Patrick had opened the business without a clue of how to run it. She was certain the place would be closed within the year. But the booze was cheap, and Patrick gave her what he called the first customer discount. As Aisling returned to the dump of a bar the next day and the next, and soon she was a regular. Patrick was always there to listen to her complain about her problems. Aisling watched with secret pleasure as the establishment transformed from one of Ramstad's smallest bars into one of its greatest. Patrick expanded his services, hired help, and implemented nearly every suggestion she gave. While Aisling was always hot-headed, Patrick was a voice of reason in her otherwise hectic life. If it wasn't for his intervention, she would have already made a fatal move against Malik and the Black Hand. Patrick promised her that through patience that they could get justice, claiming that the Black Hand's corruption went far beyond Malik. Aisling always wondered how Patrick escaped the clutches of the Black Hand. The establishment was never subject to the typical racketeering that plagued the city. Patrick had even openly declared that the bar didn't serve Black Hand members, and she saw no repercussions. As their relationship grew, Aisling learned the answer. Despite his humble appearance, Patrick's connections in Alenia went all the way to its royal family. So yeah, I believe in the back of Patrick's card it mentions how he got help from a certain individual. It wasn't the lady that was doing the what do you call it? Something battle dice. Not Apex. Abraxas. It wasn't the girl handling the Abraxas stuff. It was Aisling. So yeah, we'll go ahead and add her to the pile of adventure cards. We'll just put you over here. Okay. So, as for the boss, she rolls a teal, red, and black die. So all of her attacks are empowered. She has 150 health, 12 defense, 6 movement, and 0 armor. She does have nimble. She has elusive, which is the one where if you start next to somebody and move away from them, she doesn't provoke break attacks. She's immune to condemn. During her turn, whenever she rolls the black die during an attack, in the current action and all abilities, then roll one of each of the colored dice, not the black die. Depending on the highest number rolled, consult the special encounter rules. So yeah, if she ever rolls a black die because of her empowered or whatever, she essentially triggers something that's really bad. Skirmisher, if Aisling successfully dodges an attack, if she hasn't dealt damage this turn, she will counter with a range of 4. Her symbols, by the way, shields are +1 physical, books, every 2 books heals for 1, and then every burst is +2 physical. She has a orange casting die, and then she has conviction orange teal. And she does a lot of moving, a lot of continue downs. As you can see there, she can move up to range 4 from the farthest opponent within movement range, and kind of just go from there. And that just ends up in situations where, like, if you're in this cave here, and the only way to get range 4 is to jump across this pit, she will jump across that pit, and most likely she'll throw herself off it. The first time I fought Aisling, she was beating the tar out of me, and this was the unnerfed version of Aisling. And I won simply because I was in this cave here, and she just kept jumping back and forth, and then she eventually fell. And that's what happened. So I think the original Aisling had 250 HP. Like, she had just a ridiculous amount of HP. Also, her books, every 2 used to heal 2, which is a lot, by the way, because she has that Empower die, so it is possible she can just heal for like 8, and she attacks a lot of times. The old version of Aisling, that skirmisher thing, it used to be she just always countered when able. Now it's limited, so she doesn't do it as much. That counter is significant because of what I just said before, which is that healing. So it could be a situation where you're just attacking Aisling, and since she has Nimble, she's getting 1 dodge off of each character, and then she counters and then just heals up all the damage that you did or didn't do to her. She does have some weaknesses. She has 0 armor, which means throwing does work, so you could throw the entire backpack at her and do some pretty decent damage. She's not immune to anything besides a Condemn, and as long as you can get past Nightingale's Craze Protector, she can be poisoned. She could be darkness. She could be wilted. Technically, she could be paralyzed, and all that stuff can kind of help out a lot. Like if you can get her either in water or get her darkness and shut off her dodge, that definitely helps a lot. But yeah, you need if you can gang up on her and do a lot of hits back to back for a lot of damage, you can take her down pretty quickly. It's one of those situations where it's even on the harder version, it was a damage race. It was essentially it was just a frantic explosion of blades and spells and exalted espers, and just hoping that you will end up on top in the end. So it is what it is. Anyway, after spending 20 minutes discussing things or talking about things, I think it's time to go ahead and get started. Let's get the everything here is set up. Okay. Here goes nothing. Shuffle. All right. Aisling will be going first. And we don't need these energy tokens anymore. We've already gotten all the loot tokens and all the monsters off the board. And doesn't get any fancy initiative. Okay. All right. Aisling goes first. And unfortunately, I don't have any pagers to help with that. And yeah, it's going to be annoying. Aisling's okay, so yeah, Aisling goes first. Is there an opponent adjacent? Yes, it's going to make a melee attack, then move to be up to 4 range from an adjacent opponent. So melee attack. She has 2 choices. It's going to be Remy or Rook. Rook is higher on initiative, so it's going to go after Rook. I'm going to go ahead and Doom Break right now and get a stamina. Good to go. All right, and I will go ahead and spend that stamina to dodge. All right, I'm at 12 defense. And just barely a miss. I'm just making sure she doesn't have any wacky rerolls or anything. Okay. I can counter if I want to. But I don't think I want to, because she's just going to dodge. So yeah, we'll leave that alone. All right. Continue down. Is there an opponent within range 4? Make a range 4 against the farthest opponent within range. So, oh, sorry. Aisling was actually attacking. Oh, I'm getting them mixed up. So yeah, Aisling was attacking Rook, which would have been at -1 because of attacking through Nightingale. It's still a miss either way. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So furthest opponent that she can shoot at range 4 is Zeke. I need to reset his stuff. Okay. For right now, I will go, since I'm in human form, I will go ahead and do a gene tweak and dodge. All right, I'm at 14. All right, that's 16. So 2 base. Yeah, 16. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It'll do 11 damage. I will spend 1 to transform, because I can do this at any time. That's the key word there. Transform into a water loa. So now it's just 16 versus... I did have 1 armor, by the way, because of leather, but 16 versus 14. So I take 2 damage, because symbols don't matter. Okay, this will put me in water, which is completely fine. Alright, that was a ranged attack. If the attack hits, move 4 spaces away from the target. She can't, because there's no way to move away from where she's at. Then continue down. Can she move and attack an opponent within range 4? Move to be up to 4 range from the farthest opponent within movement range. Okay, so it's going to be... She has, what, 6 movement? Yeah, so she can go, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. She's actually as far away as she can from the furthest opponent. So she's just going to shoot. Make a range 4 attack against the farthest opponent within range, which will be Zeke again. I could do something with the Perpetrator Catsuit at this point, but I think I'm just going to tank the hits for now. Yeah, I think I'm just going to tank the hits. Okay, so yeah, ranged attack against Zeke. Symbols don't matter. Oh, we do trigger the skull. Alright, roll 1 of each colored dice. God, playing this physically would be such a pain. And then it's consult the special encounter rules. When instructed on Isling's combatant card to roll 1 of each die, read the hidden text corresponding to the color of the highest die roll. Highest die rolled is red. Isling throws her cleaver, striking the ground in spectacular fashion. She must have set up some kind of trap as the ground shakes and erupts. All opponents within 8 spaces of her in any straight orthogonal direction and within line of sight must make a lore 12 check. If they fail this check, the ground beneath their feet sending them sprawling. They are inflicted with wilt and paralyzed and pushed forward, then continue Isling's turn. So all opponents within 8 spaces of her in any straight orthogonal direction and within line of sight. Okay, so it'll be Rook. And is it any figure? All opponents, so just Rook. So I get to do a lore 12 check to avoid this, and I need to pass it. Because if I don't, I'm going to go flying off the edge. So here goes nothing. I have a lore of 5, and I need to roll a 7 with 2 purples. I do. Okay, so that is 15. I pass. I don't fly off the freaking edge. Oh no, sorry. I rolled the wrong person. It's Remy. I keep thinking it's Nightingale. It's Isling's down here, so it's going to be Remy. I rolled a 10 plus 2. I actually passed with Remy, so I'm actually good to go. I can't believe I passed with Remy. That's good. I mean, for Remy, it's not as bad. She won't go off the cliff, but it would have blown her away. Okay, and then continue your turn. So what makes this kind of crazy is this thing can trigger every turn, or as many times as she rolls skulls. Alright, so that was the shot at Zeke. It missed because of the skull. And then she's going to shoot at Rook again at -1. I'm not going to bother dodging. It misses because of the -1 for attacking through an ally. Because remember, the rule for diagonals, it still technically goes through an orthogonal tile. And you can't attack through an opponent. Alright, so that is it for Isling's first turn. By the way, she has 2 initiative cards. Goes to Patrick. Patrick, you're going to do things. You're going to spend a stamina to move. You're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to here. And your only purpose here is to ensure that Rook doesn't fall off the edge. Next, I'm going to go ahead and pop... I could shoot her, but I think I'm not going to right now. It's too risky. So I'm just going to pop all my energy tokens. Actually, I'm going to heal Remy for 3 with an energy token with a juice box. Because that's essentially what it is. And then I'm going to use the other 3 to throw knives. and I'm going to throw all of them at Aisling. 6 damage. 11 damage. I'll go ahead and re-roll the 2. 17 damage in total. We're on the board. Okay, it goes to Rook. Rook is going to go ahead and get Doombreak up. He's going to go ahead and use Doombreak immediately. We're good. Then I'm going to go ahead and flip Haste and Core to give himself haste. I'm then going to spend a stamina and do Banish Knowledge and target Remy. So Remy will have haste as well. I'm going to go ahead and exhaust the Maw of the Warden and roll a black die. And do 4 damage to Aisling. Next, I'm going to do a intervention on Remy. And then I'm going to go ahead and do a re-equip with the potion bag. And throw both our hand axes at Aisling. I'll go ahead and re-roll with intervention. Did slightly better. 2 damage, and then the other one. All right, 9 in total. 5th of the way there. Okay. Just gonna flip this up for now. All right. Probably should have done the empowered roll sooner, but that's okay. I will go ahead and spend 2 stamina to cast on Aisling. We're just going to do a Courage Stifle. It's only going to do 8 damage because I don't have Barrier anymore. It's just going to be a purple. You know what? Actually, I'm just going to hold on to the stamina because I can't do anything else anyway. I mean, I could have changed the order of operations, but I'm not going to. Actually, I could do something. I'll spend a stamina to just do a re-equip. And I'll take care of the issue. And I'm just going to remove the used, just set it aside, just so it's not taking up spots there. Alright, and then I'll do a Courage Stifle and empower it. If I kill myself, that's fate, I guess. Alright, 14. Fails, she'll take 8. Can't dodge magic. Alright, that was Rook. Goes to Nightingale. Alright, doesn't have those spells. Can Nightingale move to be adjacent to an opponent? Move to the... Oh, also, sorry, I forgot the priority target nonsense. Anytime an opponent deals damage to Aisling, they gain the priority target. So this is moved around. There's only... is it aggro? I think that's what it's called. Yeah, I believe it's just called that. Because I don't think priority target is anything else. Yep, I think it's just the skull. So, actually, it might be... Oh, no, there it is. Priority target is the crosshairs. So, the way this works is every time someone did damage, it moved the priority target token. So I went to Patrick first, because he was the first to do damage. Then it goes to Rook, because he was the last person to do damage. Alright, so Nightingale is adjacent to Rook, and she's going to make an attack, prioritizing the opponent with the priority target token. So we'll go ahead and make an attack. 13, so 3. I can't dodge, by the way. 4, it does 0 damage, because remember, the only symbols that matter is the 5 shields and 1 burst, because you don't do the upgrades. So I'll make sure make sure that's true. Scales, using scaling icon rules and abilities, that's it. And it says use scaling rules, which we can take a look at real quick. Scaling rules is icons. There it is, scaling icons, page 72. All right. Symbols. Yeah, it just says on their equipped items and learned disciplines. Any conditions required, blah, blah, blah. So I don't think it applies anything. But I can take a look at this. Upgrades is 28. Yeah, they are independent of the item. If any ability references an icon on an item with an upgrade. Oh, actually, no. It says any icon bonuses on an upgrade also applies to the item in which you have upgraded. Is it if any ability? Okay, so I do take extra damage. I will take 2 magic damage. Okay, I'm not going to reflect any damage back. Okay, that was step 2. Continue down. Is there an opponent adjacent? Yes. Make an attack prioritizing the opponent with the priority target, and this will do poison and push 4. So attack again. All right, the attack is going to hit, unfortunately, and there's not much I can do about it. It's going to do 2 magic, and then it's going to do a push at force 11. So I'll roll 2 purples and see if I can beat an 11. I'm thinking no. So I'm going to get poisoned. And then I'm going to get pushed 4, which will be push 3 because I have heavy. So I'll take 3 irreducible, and so does Patrick. Because I slam into him. Alright, then Nightingale moves 6 spaces to the farthest space from the opponent with the priority target token. So as far away as possible. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then warp Aisling adjacent to Nightingale. We'll do that. Okay. So at least we got her away from the cave. I definitely took some damage. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it uses the upgrades, but I don't remember. It's not the end of the world. It just hurts a little. Okay, that was Nightingale. Goes to Gary's. Also, I wasn't going to do any of the break attacks, because obviously I don't want to attack Nightingale. All right. So next, it goes to Gary's. What are we going to do? So unfortunately, that not morbid envy, but the that nimble is going to be a problem. There's not much I can do about it. I can use a Gary's to kind of just block hits for now. I could attack, but she is going to nimble dodge, and there's not anything, and she can get upwards to 17 defense. And I'm rolling a white and a teal. So I think I may just do Holy Strike then. Do I have line of sight? Probably not, but I can move. Spend 2 stamina. We're just going to shift down a step, since I wanted to block anyway. And then I'm just going to cast. I can target up to 2 different targets. I'm just going to target Aisling. No empower. 12 in total. At 14. Okay. Takes care of all of that. Goes to Aisling again. Is there an opponent within range 4? Yes, it'll be a Gary's. I'll just let it shoot her. Let it shoot him. 13, so that's going to be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Also, she'll heal for 1. I can take 4 damage, or I can just let this go. I'll take the 4 damage, and then Rook will take 4. That hurts a little, but we'll live. Next, it's going to... oh, sorry. So yeah, the first part didn't happen because there's no one adjacent. Then it's going to shoot at the person farthest away, and then move 4 spaces away. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then it's going to move to be up to 4 range from the farthest opponent within movement range. 1, 2, 3, 4. Technically, it's more than that. So the 4 spaces moving away doesn't get hindered by allies, but the moving regularly does. In any case, I'll shoot it at Gary's again. This time I'm going to dodge. 12. I will just unsummon a Gary's. I mean, the other option is I let it go through. 1, 2, 3, heals for 3. 16. I have, what, 2? So 12, 4, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can pop both summon tokens, which will reduce the damage by 2 each. So it'll just be 1 damage, and then 1 damage here. And then 1, 2, 3 heals for 3. So as you can see, it gets ridiculous. Like, she's just constantly healing. And this used to do double. Alright. Then making a shot at the nearest opponent, which is still him. So another shot. I can't dodge this one. 10 is a hit. It will do 0 damage, and then she heals for 2. So yeah, disease would be great if you happen to have that effect. Alright, goes to Zeke, the person we've been waiting for. Fortunately, Zeke is... we have a... I should have done Holy Sleeve Rings, to be honest. That would have been smart. Oh well. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to... spend a stamina to move. Well, first I'm going to transform. We'll transform back to human form. Then I'll spend a stamina to move. And go 1, 2. And unfortunately, this is just going to be where I'm going to stop right now. Then I'm going to do Exalted Summoning. We're going to summon Lowell and Paulden. I roll a black die. Every book I get, I can either do Haste, Barrier, or Courage, or do Wilt, Darkness, or Poison. So, we're going to roll this black die. 3 would be the best. Well, 3 would be fine. 4 is, of course, the best. Otherwise, we kind of have to adjust from there. 4. Perfect. Okay. So, here's what we're going to do. We're going to attempt to apply Darkness on Aisling. This will make it so she's less accurate and she can't dodge anymore. But first, we have to do Craze Protector. So if it's a 4 of a kind, it will transfer. It doesn't transfer, so Darkness is applied. All right, next, we're going to apply Wilt. Same situation. Doesn't apply, or doesn't transfer. And here's the big one. Poison. We have ways to get around this if it transfers, and part of the reason why I have these demon vouchers is to force rerolls. So here goes. Okay, so I'll pop a demon voucher to force a reroll. Okay, poison applied. All right, so Aisling is now poisoned, wilted, and darknessed. I have 1 left. I'm going to go ahead and use that to put haste on himself. Okay. So we got that up and running. All right. So that was my Exalted Summon. I'm going to go ahead and... this should have flipped, by the way. I'm going to go ahead and do that pack. We're going to tag out the Holy Sleeve Ring for now, and put on the Doombreak. This does mean this goes away for a little bit, but that's fine. We're also, of course, going to also get all these up and running. And we'll go ahead and throw all throwing knives at Aisling. I don't have any rerolls, so I'm just going to... Well, technically I have an enchanted piercing, but I'm not going to reroll that. Oh, sorry, and I did haste. Okay, yeah, I used all my books. Low Impulsion's taken care of. All right, let's go ahead and roll these dice. First one, 2 damage. Second one, 2 damage. Third one, 7 damage. 11 damage in total. This is not an attack or spell, so it doesn't do extra. So 11 damage in total. So puts her at 43. Okay. Then I will go ahead and do a Doom Break. Get 1 stamina. Oh, almost gave it to me. All right. And I'm going to spend 1 to re-equip. And get 3 more knives out. And I'm going to throw them all. Three, so 6, and last one. All right, 7 in total. Third of the way there. I think she healed like 10 plus damage. All right, goes to Remy. Remy is hasted. Wait, when did she get haste? Or did I give that with Zeke? No, it wasn't with Zeke. Actually, I think I did it with... Oh yeah, I did it with Rook. That's right. That makes sense. Okay. Haste will trigger. Get 1 stamina. Whew. All right. We'll spend... 1, 2. So Aisling's down there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then I could do a shady training to there. So I can get there. But I could get myself killed as a result. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, then shady training to there. We'll go ahead and open things off with a murder circus and roll 2 dice. At Aisling. 9 damage. Okay. She can't dodge because she is darkness, so let's see what we can make happen. We'll start with the dangerous one, which is going to be the false idol. So 2 greens, and that's it. That's -1 to this, so I rolled exactly a 12. So I hit, and I'm going to do 2 damage because of the shields. So 2 damage, and then +2 because of wilt, so 4 damage in total. Okay. Next, I'm going to do a Blade Works. This will be a normal roll. No backstab to worry about, and the combo knife doesn't trigger here. So yeah, just a regular attack. Here goes nothing. 2 greens. I'll re-roll with intervention. You have 1 job, man. All right, I'm going to re-roll with Nightgown. Re-roll any dice so I can re-roll both, which I will happily do. 13, that is a hit. I'll go ahead and exhaust Bone Chipper. Gain +X to the attack roll, where X equals the amount of times you've attacked the target this turn. Does that include the attack you're making? I'll check. Okay, it doesn't include the current attack. Also, I think I have a better idea. So 13, 1 base, 2 from the shield brings it up to 3, then Wilt brings it up to 5. So 5 damage. So far I've done 2 attacks now. I did False Idol and Blade Works. I'm going to pop the MF Fortitude to gain a stamina, and I'm going to spend all 3 to do Onslaught. And attack again. 11. And I will go ahead and use the Bone Chipper now to get +2. So this brings us up to 13. So it hits for 1 and 2 for 4 damage in total. And then it does a follow-up, which I'm scared about because now I have no rerolls left. And I've been rolling just like Remy usually does. 12 is barely a hit. Does 1 damage base because of the shield, and then +2 for wilt for a total of 3. And I get 1 more attack. Remy, you terrify me. You gotta stop. Also, I forgot to flip over these. Boop. Throw this in the garbage. All right. Last roll, Remy. I know you hate attacking. I know you don't like being this double dual wheel build, but please just don't miss, because else I'm going to get hurt really bad. Okay, thank you. 14, 2, 3, 4, 5 does 7 damage. Okay, we're halfway there. And that's round 1. That was round 1. As you can see, that this is the Aisling fight. You either are going to be doing a lot of damage so you can outdamage the heal, or you're not going to get anywhere and she's just going to beat the crap out of you. It's just a pure... I mean, all the combats in Middara are damage races for the most part, but this one is the epitome of a damage race. Okay, Zeke is in human form. So I will go ahead and... Oh, I can't do it because I don't have Holy Sleeve Ring equipped. Oh well. Alright, new plan then. Goes to Rook. Rook does have haste thanks to the core. I am going to take poison damage though, which almost killed me. I take 5. And I'll heal 1 for Sentient Bodysuit and then get 4 stamina. Alright. Let's go ahead and do what we can here. So the goal at this point is just to try to kill Aisling before anything else gets worse. So that's going to be the plan. I'm going to spend 1 to move. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, I have that extra movement. 9 to here. Okay. Yeah, I have 9 movement thanks to all that fancy stuff. Alright, first things first, Maw of the Warden. Oops, sorry. Let's let that finish and fix itself. Okay. Roll. 4 damage. Okay, alright, 86. I've already done the hand axes. I did do damage, so I'll do Ring of Blood to heal for 2. I'm then going to go ahead and Doom Break and roll the black again. Okay, this will flip this, which is fine. I'm going to go ahead and do an Empowered Courage Stifle on Aisling. 14. Okay, I do 8 damage, plus 2 from Wilt, because now work. So Wilt used to only work on attacks, but now it works on spells, so it does 10 damage in total. 96. Alright, and then I'm going to spend 2 to just do a regular cast. Oh, I'm rolling the wrong dice. Only 9. Well, good luck. Yep, resisted it. No surprises there. Alright. I will give Intervention to Remy. Yeah, I'll give Intervention to Remy. And I could do Magic Bomb, but honestly, that's the least of my concerns right now. I think. Alright, so unfortunately, Agares, I think you're going to be replaced. Also, I need to keep track of this priority token. I haven't been. Alright, here's the plan. I can choose to unsummon Agares. I think I'm supposed to do that during my status phase, though. But I was kind of planning on doing this anyway, because Agares is just not going to be able to do anything right now. So we'll throw him back into the figures. He is now unsummoned. And I'm going to summon the twins. So Femke and DM, welcome back. Try not to get me killed with counterattacks, please. Okay. Alright, we get a summon token. That goes away. And that's what we're looking at right now. Alright, so Femke and DM, let's remove Agares from the initiative track. And add the twins. We've already read the back of their card, so I'm not going to do it again. We'll start with Femke. And you know what? I'm actually going to put I'm going to put intervention on Femke because I'm scared. Actually, no, they both get rerolls. So never mind. We'll just go to town. And just hope we do enough. I need their figures. Femke and DM. Alright. And then I will position them anywhere with an SOI. So I'm going to put them there and there. They do have reach 2. Okay. Anything else I can do right now? I can heal myself, which would probably be a smart decision. Let's do a... I'll heal with a hyper energy potion to get a stamina and heal for 3. Then do a re-equip. So this goes away. And I will go ahead and... I can't tag in that. I'm just going to grab a Vitality Juice Box and then drink that. This will heal me for 4, because we're at common tier. Alright, so that allows me to at least tank some hits if the counters happen. Femke, you're next. Good luck. Yeah, the other thing I could have done is I could have done Hyper Energy Potion again and just tried to do one more Courage Stifle, but I think we're good at the moment. So these two will have 2 stamina, should be at full health. Okay, Femke will go first. This attack will be empowered. And rolls all of this. Alright, Femke targeting Aisling. Aisling cannot dodge. She is also flanking with Remy, so +1 to this. I miss. I do everything you want and reroll. And it's a miss. Because of course it is. Anyone in range? No, no one's in range. Actually, yeah, no one's in range. So Aisling's going to counter. I'll do a nimble dodge. 13. This will be at -1 because of darkness. And that is 11, 10, it misses. Alright, also, that was a false idol for our first attack, by the way. Alright, then I will spend 1 to counter, because I dodged. And we'll try this again. 11 is a miss. If Aisling successfully dodges an attack, if she hasn't dealt damage this turn, she will counter. Okay, well, she counters again. I will spend a stamina to dodge. +1 to this, so 11. Does hit this time. So 11 exactly. I'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. She'll heal for 1. We'll do a summon token to reduce it by 2. So we'll do 3 damage and then 3 damage to Rook. Good job, Femke. You successfully did nothing. That was impressive. All right, DM. Try not to disappoint us. First things first, I am going to go ahead and pop a blood toll and get 2 stamina and take 2 damage. This doesn't hurt Rook, thankfully. We'll go ahead and do a false idol first. So same thing, no empower this time, just an attack. Anything you want, attack again. I do hit, thanks to flanking. DM is flanking with Rook, by the way. So 12 base, so 0. And then I match the symbols here, so 1, 2. And then backstab will be brings it up to 5. And then wilt will bring it up to 7. So 7 damage in total. And that's it on that. No resonance because I didn't get any burst. We'll go ahead and spend 1 to do Ruination. So Ruination, cast a spell 6 against up to 2 different opponents. It reduces the cost by 1 if all targets have the effect. So I'm targeting only Aisling, and Aisling has 3 effects on her. So it'll just cost 1. This will be an empowered cast. Thankfully, this will not hurt Rook if it does backfire. Like that. So she'll take 3. Spend 1, cast again. 13. Alright, fails, and then I roll a casting die, right? Yep, roll my casting die. 4 plus 2 for wilt, so 6. Spend 1 again, cast again. 15. Passes, because go to hell game. Alright, and then last one. 17. You can't actually pass it. Alright. Could have been... Honestly, the twins didn't do as well as I would have hoped they did. 5 damage in total. God, jeez. I mean, same thing for Remy. Remy rolled bare minimum. So, it is what it is. Speaking of Remy, now that I've talked bad about her. Alright. So yeah, they do have reach 2, so at least Remy is flanking, so that's good. She does get the benefit of the backstab. We'll see what we can make happen here. 4 stamina. And we'll go to town here. We'll start with the false idol. This will be at -1, +1 because of flanking, so no modifier. 14, so 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Backstab brings it up to 10, and then wilt brings it up to 12. Alright, we got this. Next, I'll do a Blade Works. So this will be at +1 because of flank. 11 plus 1 is 12. So base 0, 1 from shield, 3 from backstab brings up to 4, and then wilt brings up to 6. Okay, then I'm going to go ahead and spend 2... I'll spend 3 to do Onslaught. Again, +1 to this. 17, 18. So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 13, 16, 18. Hopefully I did the math right. I've been going off of defense 12. Follow-up. I could have actually killed right then with Bone Chipper, by the way, but I'm not going to. We're just going to do the next swing just to make sure I do enough overkill. 16, 17, so 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 14, 16 damage. That definitely finishes it off. I can also do like an extra like 3 or 4 with the Bone Chipper. And I still had 1 more follow-up. And then I also had 2 planks if I just needed the whacker a few times. So there you go. That's Aisling. So we won. So that is how it usually works. You either win in about about 2 to 3 rounds, or everyone is dying because you're either not doing enough damage, or everyone's just getting wrecked by all sorts of status effects. So the good news is we defeated Aisling without her going off a cliff. She is a figure or a intelligent combatant, so we will draw a random loot card, which is 7. So 3, 3, 7. I mean, unless there's something about keywords that I've been not paying attention to. which would be a little late now to look at it. Yeah, they dropped. Yeah, so they still drop monster combatant loot card as normal. And if you actually draw the monster loot card, you redraw. That's good to know. So it's not wasted. In any case, we defeated Aisling without her going off a cliff. Honestly, that went pretty well. We did use a lot of items. Yeah, we used a demon voucher. We used a few healing items. We used 1 beer. But honestly, can't really complain about it. I don't think Zeke would have been able to help much after all the stuff he threw. He does have the ability to remove effects, so he could get rid of the poison at the very least. But yeah, everything else was actually pretty good. I was mostly concerned about getting pushed off the cliff in the beginning. I definitely was a little concerned because we had characters on both sides, which was actually kind of a good thing. It ensured that Aisling doesn't go into the cave. Usually I tend to have everyone in just outside the cave, but this actually worked out rather well. Feel free to point out any mistakes. I'm not going to go back, but I think I did everything okay. We definitely cut it close on death. Obviously I could have opted to... yeah, I almost died from poison with Rook. That being said, without Rook, I think we still would have been okay. Because honestly, DM and Femke didn't do that much. Femke did literally nothing. I think Rook hit... I don't think Rook hit once with a spell. And then DM hit with a couple of spells. So I think they did like 30 damage, which is still quite a bit. But Remy still had 1 more attack left. And then Planks. And then it would have gone to somebody else at that point. And a bunch of other junk. But yeah, I think we would have been fine. So, yeah, that happened. Yeah, sorry, I'm just taking it all in. Each party member gains 1 experience, and then we restore, and then you go to Stop Her, page 140. But we'll save that for another time, because there's a bunch of reading we're going to be doing, like a ton. Also, I think I forgot to increase the total from last time. We can find out very quickly. 8, 15, 20, 23? Yeah, I think I forgot to increase it twice. So yeah, it should be at 23. 8, 15, 20, 23. Yep, 23. Okie dokie. Okay, I'm going to attach this on the end. I did make a mistake on counting damage. Gary should have taken 1 more point of damage, which would have meant Rook would have died from the poison. That being said, Zeke was within range to use his Tristram Spirit to remove the poison. So I'm not going to do any rewinding. Because Zeke should have removed the poison when he had a chance. Because he was, I mean, even when he was transformed, he could have removed it. So that 5 or 6 damage he took from poison should not have happened. Technically, that also means I didn't actually need to do any healing. So I'll go ahead and rewind the healing as well. So I didn't need to use any of this stuff. Because literally I didn't need to. So yeah. Essentially, when Zeke moved down to do all his like throwing stuff and all that, I could have just done. I could have just flipped the Tristram Spirit, and that would have been fine. So that's what I'm going to say I did. Now I did do the math. Rook and DM did about 32 points of damage. As you can see, right now we're at 165, which would have brought it down to about 133. If we had kept the death. Also, we would not have gotten the intervention if that's the case. And then I had, 1 more follow-up still. So I would do this, and then do Bone Chipper on top of that. And that would have been... oh, actually, I would have done a lot less damage because of Backstab. Yeah, so the battle would have gone a little bit longer. That being said, like I said, I had a way of removing the poison. I just completely forgot I had it. As always, I say this multiple times, especially whenever I make mistakes. Controlling 4 characters is a lot. So I apologize for making those mistakes, but like I said, so Rook was originally over here, by the way, and then through a Gary's 1, 2, 3, 4, it would have been just removed the moment Zeke had his turn. So, like I said, the poison should not have happened, and Rook should have been fine, and I didn't need to heal. So, with all that said and done, I'm going to go ahead and call it for real this time. I'm the Depressed Hero. This was Middara Unintentional Malum Act 1. I'll see you guys next time.